Let us start with a prayer.
Lass uns anfangen mit dem Gebet.
Dear Father in heaven,
Lieber himmlischer Vater,
we are grateful that we can stand before you.
wir sind dankbar, dass wir vor dir stehen dürfen.
And we ask you that you please bless us now this evening,
Und wir bitten dich, dass du uns segnest an diesem Abend,
that you open your word to us,
dass du uns das Wort öffnest
and that you show us great and mighty things that we know not.
und dass du uns große und mächtige Dinge zeigst, die wir nicht kennen.
And we ask you that you please forgive us all our sins.
Und wir beten darum, dass du uns vergibst, alle unsere Sünden.
We claim the promise that if our sins be as scarlet, they shall be made white as snow.
Und wir möchten in Anspruch nehmen deine Verheißung, wo du sagst, dass wenn unsere Sünden scharlachrot sind, dann wirst du sie schneeweiß machen.
And therefore we ask now for your Holy Spirit,
Und darum beten wir um den Heiligen Geist.
and that you now please bless us and revive us again.
Und dass du uns segnest und uns wieder wächst.
In Jesus' name,
In Jesu Namen.
amen.
Amen.
So, let us go back to the book of Esther.
Lass uns zurückgehen zum Buch Esther.
And yesterday we looked at chapters 1 and 2.
Gestern haben wir auf Kapitel 2 und 1 geschaut.
And today we want to look at chapters 3 and 4 and maybe even 5, depending
Und
on how
heute schauen wir
we
Kapitel
get.
3 und 4 und vielleicht auch 5.
Okay. And these things are, some my thoughts to it, but obviously they are open to improvement.
Also das sind meine Gedanken und ich bin aber bereit auch für Verbesserungen.
Okay, let us just shortly recap what we looked at yesterday.
Lasst uns eine Wiederholung machen von dem, was wir gestern geschaut haben.
Yesterday we saw in Esther chapter 1.
In Esther 1 haben wir,
Esther.
Esther 1 haben wir geschaut.
And what did we find in Esther 1? Who can just lay out the main points of chapter 1?
Also wer
For us?
kann die wichtigsten Punkte von Kapitel 1 darlegen?
Maybe not Brother Mark, because he can only So how does it begin?
Wie fängt es an?
Remember, we are a class, so it's not usually in the school, right? The teacher is not feeding you all the time, but he's actually wanting you to show what you understand and answer the questions. Right?
We had a feast with 180 days and 77 days.
Yes, right. We had a feast, 180 days.
Also ein Fest mit 180 Tagen.
Okay. And why can we start it here at the Sunday law?
Warum können wir das beginnen lassen hier am Sonntag?
Right, that was Shusha and the Palace, right? Okay, and why is it here?
Warum ist das hier?
Because Daniel 8 was talking
Yes.
about the sun rays also. The two horns.
Exactly. In Daniel 8.
Daniel 8, da ist das zweihörnige Tier auch am Sonntagsgesetz.
Yes, because in Daniel 8 he's standing in Shushan the palace and he sees the two-horned beast.
Also
right?
in Daniel 8 sieht er das zweihörnige Tier und steht auch in Susan.
One is higher than the other.
Yes, one horn is. Yes,
Und eines ist höher als das andere.
exactly. Okay, so and in this 180, what is the king doing?
Was macht er in den 180 Tagen?
The first.
Yes.
I mean, all the princes and servants first.
Yes. But what is he showing there?
The riches, the treasures, and we compare with Miller's things,
The
for
drinking
example,
wine.
saying that the treasures are the truth.
Yes.
So
Also er zeigt ihnen die ganzen Schätze und so.
Yes, so he basically opens the treasures of the kingdom.
Und er öffnet eben diese Schatzweise des Königreiches.
So in the treasures of, because who's Ahasuerus in the story of Esther?
Wer ist Ahasverus in der Geschichte von Esther?
Yes, it's Christ.
Ist ein
Right?
Typus für Christus.
How do we know this?
Wie wissen wir das?
Because of the golden scepter,
Okay, because of the golden scepter, yes.
Wegen dem goldenen Zepter.
because of the
He marries
judgment.
Esther.
Yes, he marries Esther. Right? So Esther, and Esther is the church, so
Parable of the 10 virgins.
yes, the parable of the 10 virgins.
Also, ich hab's nicht.
He marries Esther.
Er heiratet Esther
And Esther is the church or the wise virgins.
und Esther ist eben die Gemeinde oder die klugen Jungfrauen.
Okay, so and therefore it's Christ who marries the
Und
virgins.
darum
right?
heiratet Christus eben
Okay,
die Gemeinde.
so here it's these riches of his kingdom, which is Christ's truth, right?
Also das sind die Reichtümer des Reiches Gottes und das ist die Wahrheit Christi.
Okay, and then after this feast, what came next?
Was ist nach diesem Fest gekommen? Ein zweites Fest.
Another feast, right?
Also ein zweites Fest ist dann gekommen.
And
7 days.
how long? 7 days.
7 Tage.
Okay, so give me some proofs that you can place a 7 here in this little time of peace.
Also warum können wir 7 dorthin platzieren?
The triumph.
Yes, 7 years of plenty, okay.
Yes. Wegen den 7 Jahren der Fülle beim Josef.
And how can you show that the 7 years of plenty are here, at least in principle?
Und wie können wir zeigen, dass hier eben auch die 7 hier im Prinzip ist?
Yes, exactly.
Also es ist an der 9. Stunde und es ist eine Parallele zu
Mitternacht.
Mitternacht.
Because this box you can just stretch out, right?
Also diese Box kann man hier ausstrecken.
It's just a fractal.
Das ist ein Fraktal.
Then midnight cry would come here.
Dann würde der Mitternachtsruf hierher kommen.
The 9th hour would be here.
Die 9. Stunde würde hier sein.
This would, actually this is false. This is 6th one. Okay, the 6 hours here. And the final review is here, right? Okay, so and then in this sense Joseph stands here at the 9th hour and he says
Also
7 years
Josef
of plenty.
steht hier und an der 9. Stunde und dann kommen eben die 7 Jahre der Fülle.
Okay. So, and what do they do during these 7 days?
Was machen sie in den 7 Tagen?
Yeah, they drink wine in abundance, right?
Sie trinken Wein in der Fülle.
So you also have therefore plenty, plenty of wine.
7 days Noah getting open.
Yes, and also you have the 7 days Noah's getting on the ark.
Und auch die 7 Tage, wo Noah auf die Arche geht.
So why can we mark the 7 days of Noah getting on the ark here?
Warum können wir die 7 Tage von Noah dorthin platzieren?
Because sister,
Danny maybe knows it?
because Sister White marks the closed door of the ark with the day of the investigative judgment begins on October 22nd.
Okay, yes.
Weil Schwester White platziert eben diese 7 Tage, wo es anfängt, dass
The closed door.
die
Also,
geschlossene Tür ist.
nicht ganz. She marks the 7 days, at the end of the 7 days, there's a shut door. Right?
Aha, also am Ende der 7 Tage ist die geschlossene Tür.
And she parallels this shut door with October 22nd when the investigative judgment begins.
Und sie platziert eben das mit dem 22. Oktober, wo das Untersuchungsgericht anfängt.
Which is the cross.
Yes,
Das ist das auch, das Kreuz.
which is here the midnight cry, right, begins the investigative judgment of the living.
Also
which
hier
is the
fängt
cross.
das Untersuchungsgericht der Lebendigen an.
And also the ark is the refuge city.
Yes, okay. That's
Die
the-
Arche ist auch die Zufluchtsstadt.
Yes, right. So here we must be in the refuge city.
Hier
right?
müssen wir in der Zufluchtsstadt sein.
So that's 7 days getting to the refuge city, to the ark.
Also 7 Tage, wo sie eben zur Zufluchtsstadt kommen,
Zur Ark.
zur Arche.
All right. So, and at the end of the 7 days, what is the king doing?
Am Ende der 7 Tage, was macht der König?
He calls Vashti, right?
Er ruft Vashti.
So here's a call made. But she,
Revelation 12.
yes, Revelation 12, right, with a woman adorned.
Also in Offenbarung 12, dort dann ist eine Frau, die eben gekrönt ist.
Yes, and adorned or basically
She has
clothed
the
with.
white robe and the
Yes.
crown.
Sie hat Hochzeitskleid und eben die Krone.
Yeah. So, but Vashti, yeah, she's not coming, right?
Aber Vashti kommt nicht.
Okay.
Auch wie in Matthäus 14. Lukas 14.
Yes, like Luke 14. Right?
So wie in Lukas 14.
And in Luke 14, we have these three people giving these 3 excuses.
Also die 3 Mal, wo Leute eben die Entschuldigung geben.
And they gave all these worldly excuses why they
Sie
could not
haben
come.
diese weltlichen Entschuldigungen gegeben.
Okay, and at the end, what happened with the master?
Was ist am Ende passiert mit dem Herrn?
He's angry or wrath.
Yes,
Er
he's
ist zornig.
right, angry. And when Vashti didn't come, it says here in verse 12, Esther 1 verse 12,
Esther 1, Vers 12.
but the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains, therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burnt in him. Okay, so here the same time, right?
Also er ist auch sehr zornig hier im selben Zeitpunkt.
And therefore what happens now with Vashti?
Was passiert mit Vashti?
She's passed by.
Yes, she's passed by, right?
An ihr wird vorübergegangen.
And there's now this judgment taking place, and these 7 princes, they are included in this judgment.
Also es findet jetzt das Gericht statt und da sind eben diese 7 Prinzen involviert.
Okay. And we looked at this. Who are the 7 princes?
Wer sind diese 7 Prinzen?
The angel that beholds his face.
Yes, right.
Das sind die Engel, die eben sein Angesicht schauen.
Yes, it's the church triumphant, right?
Die triumphierende Gemeinde.
Okay. All right. But actually, I mean, maybe it's better if I just do it like this. It's 9th hour, and this is the 6th hour. Okay. All right. So this would be this little kind of piece here, right? Okay. All right. So, and then in chapter 2,
In Kapitel 2
we looked at Esther being called,
da wird Esther dann gerufen.
because Esther was what?
Was war Esther? Eine
A
Jungfrau.
virgin.
She was a virgin,
Yes.
right?
Sie war eine Jungfrau.
Okay, so here at the 9th hour, Vashti is passed by,
Also an Vashti wird vorübergegangen.
and now the virgins are called, right?
Und jetzt werden die Jungfrauen gerufen.
In order to replace Vashti.
So, I have a question. Um, in Revelation 12 at the midnight cry, you have a righteous woman there with a crown on. There has to be somebody that marks that, right?
Yes. But it's not Vashti. Vashti is not the righteous one.
No, you know, not at that point, because that's the beginning of the test. But you have a gown on right there, that's what I'm saying. Vashti was righteous when she went to the judge. We read it yesterday when you go to the investigate judgment. She was righteous. She had obeyed every commandment.
Not Vashti.
Sorry, Esther. Okay, sorry. But the point I'm making, why do we now carry on here? Surely that would be the point where Esther's called.
Here?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I know that it's going in a chronology, but really, as I was showing this morning, right, for instance, right, you have 4 trumpets followed by 3 woes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But both Sunday laws are the same, they're on top of each other, right? So why can't this illustration be the same way, and it would solve this problem that we had yesterday?
Yeah, so I was also thinking about this, because Esther's replacing Vashti. Right?
Yes, and there's, what I'm saying is when you get to the midnight cry, there's two groups. There's one that does come and gets accepted, and there's one that doesn't come, and it's basically showing you the two classes right here. So why would you go in a chronology and not just place them on top of each other?
Yes. Yeah, maybe you're right. I mean, I was also thinking about this. Okay, let's maybe just go with this thought and try to lay it out. Okay. So basically, Mark suggested
Also Mark hat vorgeschlagen,
that because Vashti is passed by here, right?
an Vashti wird vorübergegangen hier.
Which is in this illustration here.
Das ist hier in dieser Illustration.
So yesterday we then went forward from this point on. Okay.
Gestern sind wir von diesem Punkt an vorwärts gegangen
And we looked at that Esther is called here.
und dass Esther hier gerufen worden ist.
Brother Mark suggests now that that maybe Esther is called here
Und vielleicht ist Esther hier gerufen,
because it just would show that there's two women here.
es würde zeigen, dass es zwei Frauen hier gibt.
One is unjust, Vashti, and
Eine ist ungerecht,
And
die
the other
Vashti,
the other woman, Esther, is just.
und Esther ist gerecht.
And then here at the 9th hour you have one being rejected and one getting married.
Und eine wird dann an der 9. Stunde verworfen und eine angenommen.
Okay, so we just would need a justification now to make a repeat and enlarge here in chapter 2, right? And
Yes. Well, you've got Revelation 12.
okay, but the only problem I have is always Esther chapter 2 verse 1, and I know that we always
Das einzige
struggle
Problem,
with
das
this.
ich immer habe, ist Esther 2, Vers 1.
But there's also, remember, at midnight there's a closed door there.
Yes, okay. But what would this then mean for you?
Because well, we are just about to approach midnight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a group behind us that the door's going to close on. Those that are in open rebellion, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was in open rebellion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the judgment's about, her open rebellion, refusing to come, right, from the commandment. And at midnight is a glorious manifestation of power of God. One group's going to be clothed with glory, and the other group's going to be clothed with shame. So that's basically what it's marking. And after these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus appeased, he remembered Vashti, what she had done and what decreed against her. So it says, "Let there be fair young virgins sought for the king." So in the reform line, this way marks the point, the going forth of the virgins.
Yes, but still, I mean, Vashti is passed by here, right? So-
No, I understand that.
I mean, I was also thinking about, in a sense, because I get your thought in the sense that you have these two women here, one gets rejected, one gets married, right? But at the same time, there's also this principle, because it says here in verse 19 of chapter 1,
In Kapitel 1, Vers 19.
it says, "If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she." Right, so she's passed by,
An ihr wird
and
vorübergegangen
her place is now given to another.
und ihr Platz wird jemand anderem gegeben.
And
No, I get that.
yeah.
But verse 19, Mordecai is sitting in the gate.
Right.
In 2:19.
But I was reading 1:19.
Oh, okay.
One.
Oh,
And if we now go, keep your finger here, please, in Esther 1. Let's turn to Matthew 21.
Matthäus 21.
There's just the same principle is illustrated.
das dasselbe Prinzip illustriert.
Matthew 21, verse 43.
21, 43.
And this is now the parable of the workers in the vineyard,
Das ist das Gleichnis der Arbeiter im Weinberg,
where they kill the heir, the son.
wo
Right?
sie den Erben töten.
And then it says in verse 43,
Und in Vers 43,
Therefore say I unto you, the kingdom of God shall be taken from you and given to a nation, bringing forth the fruits thereof. So here we can see the Jews got passed by, and now the kingdom was given to the Gentiles, right?
also die Juden, an ihnen ist vorbeigegangen worden und das wird jetzt an die Heiden gegeben worden.
Yeah, and what other just name me some more illustrations of the same principle.
Zeigt mir andere Beispiele von diesem Prinzip.
Yeah, that one gets
Satan.
passed by and
Satan.
yes, Satan, right?
Satan,
Now, Satan got
Satan.
rejected, and who took his place?
wer hat seinen Platz genommen? Gabriel.
Gabriel, right? The two anointed ones.
Gabriel.
What other illustration do we have?
Revelation, sorry, Romans 9 to 11,
Yes. Right.
the
Römer 9, 11.
Jews get cut off and
Die Juden sind
Gentiles
abgeschnitten worden und die Heiden sind gepfropft worden.
Exactly. So how I understand it is because who has this first opportunity here at the midnight cry?
Wer hat die erste Möglichkeit hier Mitternachts?
When we look at our reform line from 1989 down to the
Wenn wir auf
Sunday law.
unsere Reformlinie von 1989 betrachten.
Who has the first opportunity to enter into the kingdom here at the 9th hour? Okay, Jeff will be part of them. Okay. But who else?
Wer hat noch die erste Möglichkeit hier einzutreten?
Mi serve il
No. Who? When we look at the reform line, right from 1989 down to the civil Sunday law, our reform line of the movement, who has the first opportunity in this time here?
Wer hat die erste Möglichkeit von 1989 an bis jetzt?
what do you mean opportunity? What do you mean? Who's the first test?
Yes.
The-
To enter into the kingdom.
Wer ist der Erste,
the
der ins
virgins.
Königreich eintreten kann?
Yes, it's
The virgins of the parable.
this this company here, right? This camp here,
Diese Bewegung.
us.
Mhm.
Okay. So we are the ones who get tested first here, right?
Wir werden als Erste getestet werden.
So, and if you fail the test, who will take your place?
Wenn du deinen Platz nicht einnimmst, wer wird deinen Platz ersetzen?
Somebody more worthy than you.
Yes.
Jemand, der mehr
The
würdig
lost
ist als
sheep.
du.
Yes, those of the lost sheep, right?
Die verlorenen Schafe.
So, whenever you make your place free because you reject Christ, then somebody of the next group will come and take it. Okay?
Also wenn du deinen Platz frei machst, dann jemand von der nächsten Gruppe wird deinen Platz einnehmen.
Okay, I get all that. That's no problem. I get that bit. The point I was making was that in chapter 2,
In Kapitel 2,
see, we go on now, right?
Yes.
And we would mark Vashti's test on the 6th hour as a final review, right?
Yes.
Okay?
Esther's
Esther's
yes,
test,
yes.
excuse me, sorry, I keep saying Vashti. So it says, and when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai sat in the king's gate.
Where you?
219.
Okay, 2 Vers 19 sind wir.
Now, we have this quote that we use a lot. He says, the Protestants see a Mordecai in the gate,
Yes.
right? So he needs to be put out of the way. So Mordecai in the gate needing to be put out of the way is Mordecai's final test, right? It's his death decree test. When you get to the 9th hour, Mordecai's death decree test is done.
Yes.
So what I'm just saying is that it's marking here Mordecai sitting in the gate, and this is the point before he has his first test, because he saves the king here from these two men And it's this that's brought up in the investigative judgment. So if you're going to follow things along in order, you have to follow that along in order also. That's my dilemma. That's the point that I have.
Mhm. Okay, I can see this. Do you understand?
Bruder Mark hat eben gesagt, dass Mordechai seinen letzten Test bereits gehabt hat, wo er eben den König sein Leben rettet, indem dass er eben das ansagt. Ja? Und
das ist dann letztendlich auch was in Esther Kapitel 6, ja, der König ja dann nachschaut, in dieser Nacht, wo er nicht schlafen kann.
Okay.
Und in dem Sinne, aber das ist Teil dieses Sonntagsgesetztestes, was dann ab Kapitel 3 kommt. Also das wäre dann halt, wenn man hier hinsetzen würde, dass Mordecai hier im Tor steht, dann wäre das ja hier das Ende für die Adventisten. Und der Sonntagsgesetztest ist nicht mehr von Mordecai, sondern der ist dann für die Heiden. Also das ist halt das Problem.
Yes, because we are saying that it goes up because of what it says next. This happened next. This happened next. This happened next. We're following on because of that in the chronology, but it's like we really have problems when we do that.
Also wir haben Probleme, wenn wir einfach nur chronologisch einfach das Abfolge machen.
I don't think we have enough tests or enough Sunday law to get all these things in a
Ich glaube nicht, dass wir
chronology.
genug Tests und genug Sonntagsgesetze haben, dass wir das alles chronologisch ablaufen lassen können.
I mean, my thought was, since Esther chapter 3, where now Haman is promoted,
Also in Esther Kapitel 3, wo Haman erhöht wird.
what do we understand? What does this represent?
Was bedeutet das? Was?
The Sunday law.
The son-in-law, right?
Sonntagsgesetz.
So, and then Mordecai is tested, right? Whether he bows down or not.
Dann wird Mordechai getestet, ob er sich beugt oder nicht.
So, who is therefore tested in this Sunday law here?
Wer wird getestet in diesem Sonntagsgesetz hier?
Yeah, okay. But I'm just
Maybe
Church.
yes, the Jews, right?
Die Juden werden da getestet.
Which is the church.
Die Gemeinde.
Okay, so therefore, at least it's for me, it's an argument to bring it back here to this Sunday law.
okay.
Okay.
But you use the argument after this. Go to chapter 2, verse 1.
Mhm.
It says, after
Kapitel
these
2,
things, right?
Yes.
That was your argument.
No, because it says he remembered Vashti. That's my argument.
Yeah, but it's still, okay, but it says, after these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above the prince that were with him, right? So, it's just shown that this, because when he has to remember after the event, right? And this is, when you come to chapter 3, verse 1, it says the same thing, after these things, right? So all I'm saying is, I don't think you have the justification based upon those things that are said there to put it chronologically. And I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying that argument to use that wouldn't be sufficient for me, because it does it all the way through.
No, I mean, I'm not using after these things as an argument, because I'm using the context as an argument, because in chapter 3, you have the Sunday law clearly marked.
Im Kapitel 3 ist das Sonntagsgesetz markiert.
And it's the Sunday law for the Jews.
Und das ist das Sonntagsgesetz für die Juden.
So, therefore, it must be the beginning here. Right?
Das muss der Anfang sein.
I wouldn't argue that. I wouldn't argue with that, but I would also agree that.
And in chapter 2, verse 1, I would just
In Kapitel 2, Vers 1.
I would just, this phrase here where it says, he remembered Vashti and what she had done and what was decreed against her, this would just give me at least a justification to continue from chapter 1 forward.
Also für mich wäre das eine Rechtfertigung, dass man eben von Kapitel 1 vorwärts gehen kann.
And that's at least my reasoning behind it.
Und das ist meine Begründung dahinter.
So basically chapter 1 and 2
1 und 2
bring you down to the end of the first Sunday law.
zum Ende des ersten
And
Sonntagsgesetzes.
chapter 3 again brings you back to the beginning of the Sunday
Und
law.
Kapitel 3 bringt dich wieder zurück zum Anfang.
It's a little bit like Matthew 24,
Das ist so wie Matthäus 24.
where Jesus first walks you through, right? He begins with the shaking of the earth, down to verse 14 where it says, endure until the end and you shall be saved. So he brings you from beginning to end.
Also in Matthäus 24, wo er durchgeht einfach und
Sorry, das ist ein langer Satz. Ich sag's einfach direkt auf Deutsch.
Ja.
Okay? Also wo er erstmal mit Vers 4 anfängt und dann spricht er über die Erschütterung der Erde, was der Anfang ist. Und dann bringt er dich zu Vers 14 hinab, wo er dann sagt, du musst bis zum Ende durchhalten, um gerettet zu werden. Also er bringt dich also von Anfang bis zum Ende. Und dann ab Vers 15 bringt er dich wieder zurück an den Anfang, wo er spricht von dem Gräuel der Verwüstung. And in verse 15 he brings you back to the beginning when he speaks about the
Okay, but before you
abomination of desolation.
okay, so I'm not disagreeing with chapter 3, but chapter 2, verse 21 to 23. What do we do?
2, 21 bis 23.
Okay, maybe we can read them. You want to read them first?
It says, so this is marking the point where Esther is now being loved by the king, right?
Yes.
He shows her favor, right? Verse 21, it says, in those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, 2 of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth and sought to lay hands on the king, Ahasuerus. And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen. And Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name. And when inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out, therefore they were both hanged on a tree, and it was written in the book of the Chronicles before the king. That's why we know that the Bible is the
Yes.
book of Chronicles, right?
Yes, I mean, you mean now where would we place these 3 verses on the line?
Yes.
Also ich mag seine Frage ist, wo wir diese 3 Verse platzieren.
That's a good question. Gate, 2 of the king's chamberlains.
Because in the prophetic narrative, at least in the past, we always had these 2 enemies, right? That's always there at the midnight cry, which is marking the gate.
Yes.
I mean, the gate can be at different levels. I haven't got a problem with that.
Yes.
But specifically, if it's not at the midnight cry, in this sense, it would have to be at the 6th hour.
Also wenn es nicht der Mitternachtsruf ist, dann müsste es an der 6. Stunde sein.
Right? Because then that's the only bit you've got left to take you to the end. I mean, I don't know. And then you come to chapter 3, right? Or you come into the story again, and Mordecai gets honored, right? But
Where you are?
in chapter 6,
Kapitel 6, Mordechai wird geehrt.
he gets honored because of this thing that he did, right?
Yes.
And how does he get honored?
Wie wird er geehrt?
Right. So
Durch den triumphalen Einzug.
why does he do the triumphal entry? Because of what he did when the books were opened, right? But the books get opened at the midnight cry, right?
Also, warum ist er geehrt worden? Weil er die Bücher geöffnet hat, aber die Bücher werden geöffnet am Mitternachtsruf.
So Mordecai is getting honored for something that he did prophetically after this point. You get what I mean?
Yes, yes. I get what you
So, because when you bring it line upon line, he would do the event after. You're laying it back on top, and he opens the book before, and then honors him with a triumphal entry before he even does this thing.
Yes,
That's what I'm saying. It's sort of.
yes, yes. Okay, I don't know.
You better to explain that. In
I don't know how to
Mhm.
answer this at the moment. So letztendlich, was man halt sehen kann am Ende von Kapitel 2, da wird der Mordecai, ja, er wird jetzt hier in das Buch der Chroniken reingeschrieben, weil er diese Auskunft gegeben hat. Und in Kapitel 6 ja, da wird ja dann an ihn gedacht und er wird dann geehrt mit diesem triumphalen Einzug. Und letztendlich, wenn man das jetzt ja, zum Beispiel jetzt hier hinsetzen würde, hier ans Ende, wo Mordecai das machen würde, und Mordecai dann aber sozusagen hier geehrt werden würde oder hier ja, mit diesem triumphalen Einzug, weil die Bücher werden ja geöffnet, das ist markiert hier das Untersuchungsgericht, ja, dann ist er sozusagen, wird er geehrt für etwas, was er prophetisch gesehen erst später getan hat. Ja, und das ist halt etwas, was
nicht möglich.
Ziemlich unlogisch ist. Okay. Also, das weiß ich jetzt auch nicht genau, wie man das beantworten soll. Aber, okay, das müssen wir jetzt erstmal so stehen lassen. Und, ja. And we can just leave it and just
Yes.
look at this more
I
closely.
just wanted to make that point.
Yes, that's a valid point. Or at least at the first glance. Okay. And but maybe it's also just a fractal in itself. Yeah.
Yes.
We have to consider this also. Okay, also vielleicht ist das auch einfach ein Fraktal
Ja.
an sich. Ja. Und das müssen wir auch mal betrachten. Okay, but anyhow, let us now go to chapter 3 and let's begin with chapter 3.
Lass uns anfangen mit Kapitel 3.
Alright, so let us read the first 5 verses.
Lass uns die ersten 5 Verse lesen.
Or first 6 verses.
Ersten 6 Verse.
And maybe Marius, you want to read the first 3, and David, you can read the last 3, please.
It says, after these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advance him, and set his seats above all the princes that were with him. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence. Then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, Why transgressest thou the king's commandment?
Now it came to pass when they spake daily unto him, and hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath. And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had shown him the people of Mordecai. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai.
Okay, so David, can you tell me where this chapter 3 would start and why?
Wo fängt das Kapitel 3 an und warum?
Okay, can somebody help them out? Okay, Daniel says Sunday law, and can you also give the reason?
Because Haman is this statue.
Yes, correct. And how do you know this?
Who's he married to?
Daniel. Oh, yeah, to what's she called?
Zeresh.
Zeresh.
And he's got how many sons?
10 sons.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
Also es fängt am Sonntagsgesetz an, weil eben dieser Haman, der errichtet eben das Standbild und
Oder er stellt das Standbild dar.
ja, er stellt das Standbild dar und er hat eben 10 Söhne, dieser Haman.
Und ist verheiratet mit Zeresh.
Mit Zeresh ist er verheiratet.
Yeah, and Zeresh was the one told him to make
Yes.
the thing, and he obeyed her voice. So this
Und
shows.
Zeresh hat auch zu Haman alles erzählt und gesagt, was er tun soll,
Ja, also die Galgen. Ne?
so wie bei Isabel.
Yeah, exactly.
Sie hat gesagt, den Galgen abbrechen.
Yes. So, yeah, and because we understand at the Sunday law, what happens with the United States?
Was passiert mit den USA am Sonntagsgesetz?
Church horn is higher.
Yes, the church horn is higher.
Das Horn von der Gemeinde wird höher.
But what happens here with Haman,
Was passiert hier mit Haman?
according to verse 1?
He gets
Vers
exalted.
1.
Promoted.
Yes, he gets promoted
Er
over
wird erhöht
All the princes.
Yes, over all other princes in the kingdom.
Über alle anderen Prinzen.
So, and what happens with the United States here at the Sunday law?
Was passiert mit den USA hier am Sonntagsgesetz?
Yes, it becomes this great tree, right?
Also USA wird der große Baum.
Fitly represented as the
Der wird dargestellt,
Medical.
head of gold. Yeah.
so wie das Haupt von Gold.
And why is it the head of gold?
Warum ist das Haupt von Gold?
Because he's a cruel and proud oppressor.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
Er ist ein gräulicher Unterdrücker.
Because he's now at the greatest height of wealth, right?
Und er ist auf der größten Höhe von Reichtum.
So therefore the United States gets now exalted over all the other kingdoms here.
Also USA wird erhöht über alle anderen
And
Königreiche.
who did it to Haman?
Wer hat es gemacht zu Haman?
Yes, Christ, right?
Christus hat das gemacht.
That's Ahasuerus.
Ahasverus.
So Christ allows the United States to be, this prime nation over the 10 sons, over the 10 kings.
Christus
right?
erlaubt der USA, dass sie eben diese eine Nation ist über all die 10 Nationen.
Okay. In order to do what?
Um was zu tun?
Why does Christ allow Haman to be promoted?
Warum erlaubt Christus Haman, dass er erhöht wird?
It says that
The
the
road
Assyrian was the
of
rod of his
indignation. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
Er sagt, dass die Assyrer der Stab seiner Zucht waren.
Let's go to, keep your finger here in Esther, let's go to Isaiah chapter 10.
Jesaja 10.
And then let's read verse 1,
Vers 1,
and then let's read verse 5 and 6,
5 und 6.
and then also verse. Let's read first these verses, and then I will tell you the next one.
1, 5 und 6.
Susi, read this first.
Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write rulings which they have
Prescribed.
prescribed.
Okay, Susi, where are we on our line?
Wo
Und
sind
why?
wir nun auf unserer Linie?
Yes, very good. And why?
Warum sind wir am Sonntagsgesetz?
Because the unrighteous decrees are disobeyed.
Exactly.
Wegen den ungerechten Vorschriften.
Yes. Sister White says it's the Sunday law, right?
Das ist das Sonntagsgesetz.
Okay, so we're here at the Sunday law. Now you can read verse 5 and 6.
Jetzt lesen wir 5 und 6.
Who is sealing the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hand is mine indignation. I will send him against an hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath will I give him a charge to take the spoil and to take the prey and to tread them down like in the mire of the streets.
Okay, so against whom is Assyria sent?
Gegen wen ist der Assyrer gesandt?
Hypocritical nation.
Yes, and who is this hypocritical nation
Wer ist diese heuchlerische Nation,
that the Assyrian is sent against?
wo die Assyrer gegen sie gesandt werden?
Yes, God's people, right?
Gottes Volk.
So this you can read in verse 12.
Vers 12 können wir das lesen.
Wherefore it shall come to pass that when the Lord hath performed his whole work upon Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria, and the glory of his high looks.
Yes. Okay, so what does it say? What is the Lord doing?
Punish Assyria.
Yes,
Was tut der Herr? Er züchtigt,
bestraft
er bestraft Israel,
Assyrien.
Assyrien.
Yeah, but when is he punishing Assyria?
Wann bestraft er
Vers 12?
Assyrien?
After they have punished Israel.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
Also er bestraft Assyrien, nachdem sie Israel bestraft haben.
And it says here, when the Lord hath performed his whole work upon Mount Zion.
wenn er seine Arbeit ausgerichtet hat am Tempel Israel. Zion.
Zion. And the Assyrian is who else?
Wer ist der Assyrer noch? Ägypter.
Yes, he's the Egyptian and he's the... What other nation?
Pharaoh.
Babylonian, right? Egypt, Assyria, Babylon is the same power.
Also Ägypten, Babylon und Assyrien ist dieselbe Macht.
So, the Sunday law, right?
Das ist das Sonntagsgesetz.
And then how long does the Assyrian rule for?
Wie lange herrscht der Assyrer?
How long is he punishing?
70 years.
Yeah, 70 years or 1260,
70.
right?
Oder 1260.
All the same, right? Okay. So in this time,
In dieser Zeit,
yeah, the Assyrian does a work for the Lord.
der Assyrer tut eine Arbeit für den Herrn.
Okay, and what is this work?
Was ist diese Arbeit?
And because after he done this work, he will be punished, right?
Und nachdem er die Arbeit getan hat, wird er selbst gezüchtigt.
Let's go now to Daniel 11.
Daniel 11.
Daniel 11.
Daniel 11.
Let's read verse 31.
31.
And Daniela, you want to read this for us, please?
And arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate.
Okay, so where are we here
Wo sind wir da?
on our line? And why? Can you answer this, Daniela?
When the day is taken away.
Yes. And the abomination of desolation is placed, right? So where are we?
508 und 508.
Sunday law, right? So,
Sonntagsgesetz.
and then these next verses, verse 32 and onward, speaks about then this time of the papacy, the
Das
1260.
spricht über die Zeit des Papsttums, über die 1260.
Okay. And then let's go to verse 35.
Vers 35.
Then we can see why the Lord allows the Assyrian to come up.
Dann sehen wir, warum der Herr dem Assyrer erlaubt, heraufzukommen.
Let's read verse 35.
Vers 35.
Daniel, you want to read this for us, please?
And some of them of understanding shall forward to try them, and to purge them, and to make them white even to the time of the end, because it is yet for time appointed.
Okay. So how long does this time last? Yeah, 1260 until the time of the end, right?
Also die Zeit dauert 1260 bis zum Zeit der Ende.
And the time of the end is 1798, right?
Das ist 1798.
So 538 to 1798. And what happens during this 1260 according to verse 35?
Was passiert in diesen 1260 gemäß Vers 35?
What does it say here?
3 steps.
Yeah, 3 steps, and they are.
All tried,
Läuterung, Sichtung und Reinigung.
So God's people will be
tried,
tried,
purged and made white.
made white, and purged, right?
It says tried, purged and made white, but.
Huh? Really?
Yes. To try them, to purge, and to make them white.
Oh, said it wrong on my thing. Sorry. So tried, purged, and made white.
Also sie werden geläutert, gesichtet und gereinigt.
And it says some of them of understanding will do what?
Manche werden es verstehen und was tun?
No. It says some of them of understanding shall fall.
Sie werden fallen.
Einige der Verständigen werden fallen.
Einige der Verständigen fallen.
So therefore we can see it's a work of separating the precious from the vile.
Es
Right?
ist eine Arbeit von der Trennung von
Vom Kostbaren von dem
Kostbaren und von dem
Unedlen
Unedlen.
Okay.
Okay.
oder Verdorbenen. Okay. And it's a work of purification here.
Das ist eine Arbeit der Reinigung hier.
Therefore, why now we can come back to Esther chapter
Jetzt
3
können
verse
wir
1.
zurückkommen zum Esther Kapitel
3 verse 1.
3,1.
Now when we bring all these thoughts together,
Wenn wir jetzt diese Gedanken zusammenbringen,
so why is Ahasuerus, who's Christ, promoting Haman?
warum erhöht Ahasverus, der auch Christus darstellt, den Haman?
Purify his people.
Yeah, to purify his people, right?
Also sein Volk zu reinigen.
Yeah, he promotes him to make the son-in-law.
Er erhöht ihn, um das Sonntagsgesetz zu
Yeah,
machen.
he sets up kings and takes down kings.
Er setzt Könige ein und setzt sie ab.
Okay, so even though Satan is the one bringing the son-in-law, the Lord uses this to
Also
purchase
Satan
people.
bringt das Sonntagsgesetz, aber der Herr verwendet es, um sein Volk zu reinigen.
So that's why Christ allows Haman to be now set up over all the other kingdoms of the world.
Darum erlaubt eben Gott, dass, was nochmal?
That Haman is now set over all the other kingdoms of the earth.
Dass der Haman gesetzt wird über alle anderen Könige der Erde.
Okay, so and Mordecai is now somebody who's faithful, right?
Mordechai ist jemand, der treu ist.
And what can we see here?
Was können wir jetzt sehen?
And what is he not doing?
Was macht er nicht?
Bowing down.
He's not bowing down.
Er fällt nicht nieder.
Yeah. So when Haman is now lifted up here at the son-in-law,
Wenn Haman erhöht wird am
and
Sonntagsgesetz
everybody's to bow down before him,
und jeder muss sich beugen vor ihm
and Mordecai is not bowing down,
und Mordechai beugt sich ihm nicht,
what other illustration is this a parallel to?
was für eine andere Darstellung ist das, eine Parallele?
Daniel 3.
Daniel chapter 3.
Daniel Kapitel 3.
Because there, the golden
Da ist die goldene Statue
image is set
aufgerichtet
up,
worden.
and the three friends are not bowing down.
Und die drei Freunde beugen sich nicht nieder.
Joseph also.
Yes,
Josef auch.
exactly. Right. Joseph with Potiphar's wife.
Josef mit der Frau von Potiphar.
Yeah. And how many times did she speak to him?
Wie viele Zeit hast sie zu ihm geredet?
Maybe 3.
Many days. Right?
Keep your finger here. Yes, yes. Keep your finger here in Esther chapter 3. Let's go to Genesis 37, I think it is. 39?
1. Mose
Yes,
39.
39. And let's read verse 10.
39, Vers 10.
It says, and it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her to lie by her, or to be with her. So how many times did she speak to him?
Wie viele Zeit hat sie gesprochen zu ihm?
Daily.
Daily, right?
Tag für Tag.
Day for day.
It's the
Yeah.
time period.
Yes.
Okay, yes. And according to, because this would be the midnight crying, right?
Das würde der Mitternachtsruf sein.
So if we now look at maybe at this illustration, okay, or let's keep it then here. So what is this and what is this in Daniel chapter 8?
Was ist das und was ist das in Daniel Kapitel 8?
Paganism and
Daily
paganism,
and
or the
the
daily
Yes.
and the transgression of this.
Okay, it's the daily
Das tägliche
and the transgression of desolation.
und das Gräuel der Verwüstung.
Okay, so the woman here, she spoke daily to him.
Sie
right?
hat täglich zu ihm geredet.
So it's this
Paganism.
paganism,
Das
this
ist
false daily.
heidnische Rom.
Yeah.
Das falsche tägliche.
Yes. Okay, and now let's go back to Esther chapter 3
Esther Kapitel 3,
and let's read verse 4.
Vers 4.
Esther 3 verse 4, it says, Now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matter would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew. So how did they speak to him?
Wie haben sie zu ihm gesprochen?
Daily, right?
Täglich.
So it's the exact same parallel story, right?
Das ist dieselbe Geschichte.
Therefore, who is Mordecai?
Denn wer ist Mordechai?
When you now bring these two stories together.
Josef.
Yes, he's Joseph.
Er ist
Okay.
so wie Josef. Mordechai ist so wie Josef.
Okay. And Potiphar's wife is basically these king's servants. Okay.
Und Potiphas Weib ist so wie des Königs Diener.
Yeah. They speak daily to him,
Sie haben täglich
bow
zu ihm
down,
geredet
worship,
und haben gesagt, beug dich doch nieder
and worship this golden image.
und bete das goldene Bild an.
But what then happens?
Was ist dann passiert?
Because what did Mordecai now do to explain why he's not bowing down?
Was hat Mordechai gemacht, warum er erklärt hat, er will sich nicht beugen?
What did he do?
Was hat er gemacht?
What was his explanation why he didn't bow down?
Welche Begründung hat er gemacht, dass
According
er
to
sich
verse
nicht
4.
beugen will? Vers 4.
He's talking about he's a Jew.
Yes, he said he was a Jew.
Und er sagte, ich bin ein Jude.
Yes, he says, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist.
Ich
right?
bin ein Sieben-Tags-Adventist.
So therefore I cannot worship this Sunday law.
Und dann kann ich eben nicht dieses Sonntagsgesetz anbeten.
Okay? And what did then the king's servants do?
Was haben dann die Diener vom König gemacht?
According to verse 4.
Vers 4.
Come on, it's written right there. Elena, can you tell us? Du musst übersetzen, Margot. Yes. No. Yes. They told Haman. Okay.
Sie haben es Haman gesagt.
Okay. And what does this represent?
Was bedeutet das eben?
Get delivered on.
Yes, you deliver.
Er wird ausgeliefert.
Okay. So when you have this daily test here and you pass this daily test, then they deliver you up. Okay.
Also wenn du diesen täglichen Test hier hast, dann wirst du ausgeliefert.
Okay. So delivered up. What happened with Joseph?
Was ist mit Josef passiert?
He got put in prison.
Er ist ins Gefängnis gekommen.
Yes, when he daily resisted this wicked woman.
Er hat täglich widerstanden dieser bösen Frau.
Yeah. And then he got falsely accused and got cast into prison.
Er ist fälschlich angeklagt worden und ist ins Gefängnis geworfen worden.
Okay, and we understand this is this prison experience.
Das ist das Gefängniserfahrung.
So same illustration.
And yesterday you put, that's why, but yesterday you were put in between midnight cry, or the 9th and the 6th hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
The sweet and bitter.
Yes.
And when Mordecai gets delivered up, he shouts with a loud and bitter cry. So it marks the bitterness right there.
But this would be here, where he cries.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying yesterday you put the sweet and the bitter
And here.
there,
Yes.
but I'm saying Mordecai is a little bit midnight. So, but I'm saying that this bitter thing, when the enemies rise up against the thing, they're the ones that deliver you up.
Yes.
So the whole bitter experience begins and it leads to this point
Yes,
where
yes.
you give the cry.
Also gestern haben wir uns angeschaut, wie hier das Süße und das Bittere dann hier markiert ist. Und hier fängt ja das Werk der Feinde an. Und das wird dann diese bittere Erfahrung, die hier losgeht und dann letztendlich hier den Höhepunkt erreicht, wo du für Mordecai dann diesen lauten, bitteren Ruf geben wirst. Okay. Alright, so. Yes?
I mean, I remember that we said one time that the king's servants are the nominal Adventists because Esther is the king, and but in this case could be Potiphar's wife, the nominal Adventist.
Why?
We said because they are the longer and months ago.
Can't be, it's the state power. It's the woman that's married to the state power.
No, I mean the king's servants. If the king is Ahasuerus, died for Christ, the servants could.
Yes,
The-
king's
the-
servants.
The
Yeah.
servants, yes, but not his wife.
No.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I basically just said, you know, Potiphar's wife is basically king's servants. So in a sense, because they both spoke daily to.
But when you go to Spalding again, both the civil powers and God's church come together and report you to the papacy, and they're the ones that tell the civil powers, you know.
The nominal Adventists and the nominal churches.
Yes.
Okay, so and basically then Haman is full of wrath, right? When he's delivered up and he makes this death decree.
Also Haman ist voller Zorn und er macht das Todesdekret.
Okay, so these things are all revision.
Das
Okay.
sind alles Wiederholung.
And but it's good to be reminded of these things.
Und es tut aber gut, an das erinnert zu werden.
And we can see how all these things harmonize and how all these stories
Dinge
blend into one.
Zusammengefügt werden können und ja.
Because also in the story of Daniel 3, they refuse to bow down and then they get delivered up and the king is wrath.
Also in
Wrath,
Daniel 8 ist es auch so, dass sie nicht sich beugen und dann werden sie ausgeliefert.
And the king is wrath.
Und der König ist zornig.
Like Haman is.
So wie auch Haman, der zornig
Okay.
ist.
So therefore we can see it's all one and the same story.
Das ist alles eine und dieselbe Geschichte.
Okay. And we must bring them together and then we can really
Wir
place
müssen
this correctly.
sie zusammenbringen und dann können wir das richtig platzieren.
Amen?
Amen.
Can everybody follow? Okay. I think we can now close for tonight
Wir können Schluss machen.
and we can then continue tomorrow.
Wir machen morgen weiter.
Okay.